Let's tackle one of the biggest questions out there. Is aging just something that happens to us, an inevitable march of time? Or is it something we can actually influence? Well, a really fascinating pilot study decided to put that to the test, looking at whether a specific diet and lifestyle plan could literally turn back our biological clock.
You know the feeling, right? Some days you wake up feeling like you could run a marathon. And other days, well, you feel every single year and then some. And that feeling, it actually points to a really core idea that scientists can now measure: the huge difference between the age on your calendar and the actual age of your body's cells.
And this difference is absolutely crucial. See, your chronological age, that's set in stone. It's just how many trips you've taken around the sun. But your biological age, that is a whole different ballgame. It reflects the real wear and tear on your body, and it's a much, much better predictor of your health and how long you'll stay healthy. And here's the exciting part. It seems like it's something we can actually change.
So, to understand how we could possibly change our biological age, first we have to get our heads around how scientists can even measure it. And that brings us to this incredible field of biology that is totally changing our understanding of how our genes work.
Welcome to the amazing world of epigenetics. Now, this is not about changing your actual DNA code, that's fixed. Think of epigenetics as being the layer on top of your DNA. It's the set of instructions that tells your genes which ones to turn on, which to turn off, and how loud to play the music, so to speak.
I love this analogy. Your DNA is the piano, and the keys are your genes. They are what they are. Epigenetics, then, is the pianist. And what you do, what you eat, how you move, how much you sleep, that's the sheet music you hand to the pianist. It dictates the entire performance.
So, how exactly does this pianist get its instructions? One of the most important ways is through a process called DNA methylation. The easiest way to think about it is like this. Your body places these tiny chemical tags, almost like little sticky notes, onto your DNA. These notes tell a gene to be active or to be silent. And here's the key. The pattern of these sticky notes changes in a pretty predictable way as we get older.
So how do we read this pattern of sticky notes? Well, scientists use an incredible tool called the Horvath clock. It's essentially a super smart algorithm that looks at the methylation patterns across hundreds of different spots on your DNA. And from that, it can calculate a startlingly accurate biological age. And this is the exact tool they used in the study we're about to break down.
All right, so with a reliable way to measure biological age in hand, a team of researchers designed a really clever experiment to see if they could actually change it on purpose. Let's take a look at how they set this thing up. Now, even though this was a smaller pilot study, it was designed the right way, as a randomized controlled trial, which is really the gold standard in science. They took 43 healthy guys, all between 50 and 72 years old, and split them into two groups. One group got the 8-week program, while the other, the control group, was just told to live their lives as normal.
And the plan for the treatment group wasn't just about one thing. It was a full-court press. They had a very specific diet, a moderate exercise routine, a sleep goal of at least 7 hours a night, and even daily breathing exercises to help manage stress. On top of that, they took a probiotic and a greens powder for extra support.
And the diet was really specific. It was loaded with foods known to support healthy DNA methylation, things like dark leafy greens, eggs, and even liver. But just as important was what they were told to avoid, things like sugar, dairy, and grains. They also did a simple form of time-restricted eating, keeping all their meals within a 12-hour window from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Okay, so you've got this targeted lifestyle plan, you've got a precise way to measure the effects. What happened? After 8 weeks of this program, did they actually do it? Did they manage to turn back time?
The moment of truth. The researchers took saliva samples from everyone, ran them through that Horvath clock we talked about, and compared the after picture of the treatment group to the control group.
And the result was pretty stunning. The treatment group saw a biological age reduction of 3.23 years compared to the controls. Let that sink in, a more than 3-year reversal in just 8 weeks. But you might be wondering, how exactly did they get that very specific number? Well, the breakdown is even more interesting.
So here's how it worked. The group on the program, their biological age actually decreased by almost 2 years. But, and this is so important, the control group, the guys who did nothing different, they actually got about a year older during that same 8-week period. So when you compare the difference between the two groups, you get that net effect, a reversal of 3.23 years.
And you know, the benefits weren't just showing up on the epigenetic clock.
The treatment group saw some huge improvements in really important markers for metabolic health. For example, their triglycerides, that's a type of fat in your blood that can raise your risk for heart disease, they dropped by a whopping 25%. Their bad cholesterol went down too. It was clear this program was having a real positive effect on their bodies.
Okay, a 3-year age reversal in 8 weeks? That sounds almost too good to be true. And whenever we see an exciting result like this, it's so important to take a step back and put it all in the proper scientific context.
So what makes this study such a big deal? It's all in the design. While other studies have hinted that this might be possible, this was the first ever randomized controlled trial to show that a specific lifestyle program could actually reverse epigenetic age.
And the authors themselves really drive this point home. By having that control group to compare against, they could be much more confident that it was the intervention itself, and not just random chance, that was causing this incredible change.
But of course, we have to be realistic here. This was a small study, just 43 guys, and they were all middle-aged or older. We absolutely need to see if these results can be repeated in bigger groups, and especially in women. And while slowing the clock is amazing, we still need more research to prove that it directly lowers the risk of getting age-related diseases.
So where does that leave us? Well, while it's still very early, this study just opens up this incredible possibility. It suggests that maybe, just maybe, our biological age isn't a one-way street, that it's less of a fixed destiny that's written in stone and more of a conversation between our genes and our lifestyle. And it might just be a conversation that we have a whole lot more say in than we ever thought possible.